Good evening, viewers. This is Acid Roots, and we're heading further into World 3. You know, that we're just kind of burning the midnight oil here. This would be a perfect video to watch at like 1:45 a.m. or 2:15 a.m., something like that. It's got a frozen pizza in the oven or some fried chicken in the microwave, something like that you're getting ready to heat up. Even more so, maybe you've got some Uber Eats on the way, you're going to get a bunch of munchies, and perfect little game here. Plenty of stupid stuff to happen to just have this be a bundle of laughs. And you look at the, like, there actually were clownfish. You just saw a clownfish. Yeah, right there, that red fish is... I suppose you don't really see clownfish too much in video games, so it's neat that they did that. It's kind of a stupid animal, but it has some sort of purpose. Of course, I mean, really, I don't know where that necessarily comes from. I mean, maybe that it's kind of a little bit exaggerated, but to say a clownfish, if there were actually fish out there that look like they have their faces painted, you know, clowns are only probably about 150, 200 years old, but, you know, clownfish has got to be like thousands of years old. I don't know. It's odd. Who knows? We'll have to talk to some scientist or biologist about that, you know, something like, why did clowns copy the clownfish? It's kind of like, well, we don't know. But yeah, these waterfall stages are unique just because they trip me up a couple times here, just because there's a background and a foreground, and if you jump from the background, you can fall to your death because you won't traverse back into the foreground. So you have to go back to the foreground to not fall in the background and that type of stuff. So just keep in mind that there's two variants of the screen that you can fall from, and you may think, well, if you see land in the foreground, you're falling in the background, that you'll land on that, but probably not. So it's just kind of one of those things you might spit out your beer or something like, what the fuck, that was kind of sophomoric that happened, but still clever. Still, I find that decently clever to kind of talk about that sort of thing. These are probably some of the more well-designed stages in this game. I like these compared to, like, I mean, the lake shore ideas at the beginning were decent. They're just real mellow. But this is kind of a mellow kind of set of stages also, just because they're all vertical stages, which is original. But these are just very also mellow as well. They don't have like this feels like the approach towards some of these is just not quite as in your face as it was in like the second game. But the forest stages were even mellow too. I mean, they just were kind of, I mean, most of the time in the forest you wound up being like the elephant or something like that, so you didn't really get to appreciate the forest stages. But it's kind of, I've discussed this in previous episodes, like, you know, I think people were just like, fuck it, just play the damn PlayStation. You know, you need to pop in Tomb Raider and really get kind of messing with the next wave here, that type stuff, but this is what I'm talking about, you know. Luckily there was a piece that let that happen. I don't know, I mean, the game's gonna play tricks. It's kind of elusive in this. You'll just have to wonder what's gonna happen here if you do happen to fall to your demise in some of these waterfall stages. And of course the hitboxes. I really am not a terrible fan of the hitboxes in this game. I mean, maybe it's not the hitbox, but this kind of the like I've said, the controls are more gummy this time around, because I feel like they were probably designed for younger sets of kids. So obviously, you know, there may be kids who may have been too young to have played the first couple games and started with this one, but you know, you get the idea. So this is the parallel bird, and obviously it flies at like a parallel to you, and you usually, well, almost every time, I'd say you get some sort of goodie for keeping this bird around. There's one hit and it's out of here. So this is what you have to really, there's things in this game, that's another thing you have to pay attention to. You get one shot to do it. And I guess we're just going to get a 3-up. So But you get one shot. Like, there's a couple of times where you have to get, like, the Donkey Kong coin, and you will get one shot, and if you don't do it correctly that time, you're playing the whole stage over. So, it's just kind of... It's kind of an extra trick, but it's just interesting that sort of stuff kind of... Yeah, I'm really trying to figure out if yeah, you have to know the technique as far as... The shenanigans of this game are trying me, but it's just, you know, supposed to, you know. So, I mean, I know what I'm supposed to do here. You're supposed to slowly toss this barrel, and then... Yeah, so I was wondering if I was going to get that. I wasn't quite as sure. That's the end of the stage, so... Yeah, I'm kind of almost running out of things to say here. I'm just trying to think about what's been going on. Still watching the news. Like, if you live in America, Roe v. Wade just got overturned, which is the abortion law, which apparently that's been around for 50 years as far as that kind of went. And now they just decided to throw that out the window, so that's kind of... I don't know. I mean, I would almost think, like, even the Supreme Court would want to think that through more. I mean, it really feels like things starting to kind of have more of, like, a churchy kind of feel almost. But, you know, because, I don't know. I mean, you know, there's plenty of situations, even if you're watching this and you live, like, in Greece or, like, Rome or someplace like that, or Spain, one of those places, you can say they're probably pointing their finger and laughing, like, you know... I would almost say Britain kind of knows about Roe v. Wade. It's like, yeah, you've got problems, don't you, stupid American, or something like that. You know, but... Yeah, so this stage kind of tripped me up. This stage kind of wound up pissing me off some. This kind of happens to be the remark about it. Those the TNT barrel dudes just happen to really be ass goblins. I mean, they're just not fun. Well, it's fun because it's unexpected, but I feel like if I were to keep dying at this, eventually it would piss me off. So it's just kind of like a Jack in the Box, you know. You know, I mean, obviously, you know, if you know, it's not going to do anything for you to be 30, but if you're like 5 or 6 and you just randomly get surprised and an explosion happens in your face, you're like, well, what the fuck was that? I mean, being at the age I am now, but obviously if I were to die to this character like 6 or 7 or 8 times, it would start to piss most people off, you know, but it's kind of one of those situations. So, and they're pretty quick too. I mean, you have to be somewhat good at, like, Super Mario type games to avoid these assholes. So, it's a little bit surprising because this is only the 3rd world in the game. So. There was even yeah, the game was starting to slow down because of, all the enemies. I actually like when slow down stuff type happens, you know, or the screen does that, just because it's you know, it's stupid when video games do that, but it's also kind of fun just because the game is about to glitch out. It's kind of like a video game's way of saying, hey, there's too much crazy shit's going on right now, and that's kind of the concept about it. But I don't know why I didn't grab that rope. I mean, that was kind of the situation there. Is that was something that pissed me off a little bit more, because I jumped pretty well on that, but it just decided for me to not. And then that enemy right there just walks right into you. I mean, you get a midway point, and then automatically you have to move, or else you're going to get hit. The dude will walk right into you. You have a 1-second time gap to not get hit by that dude. Kind of poor planning. yeah, so. I mean, this game has its shenanigans. It's not quite like Super Mario in terms of the idiocy that goes along with it, but it's these stages. This stage in particular surprised me enough just to think that this is kind of pretty comic mischief type stuff here. I was kind of surprised at the bafflingness of it, but. And then there's, like, of course, the piranha fish down there just to make sure that you don't try to swim your way through. So. Yeah, we're gonna have to knock out this dude right here, and this guy is in every stage. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, obviously, I think it should be known, but just to kind of say, some stages he's not quite as visible, but you do wanna, for 100%, you have to learn the concept of knocking him out and getting him taken care of. I'm just gonna save after every one of these because I know I don't have many lives. I'm not even sure if you stack up a bunch of lives. I mean, because I could have sworn I had more than 3 lives at this stage. I think just like the other 2 Donkey Kong games, if you turn off the Nintendo, it doesn't matter if you had 50 lives, you lose all of them. I mean, obviously, I think the developers could have curbed this little tactic here, but I think the point that they're trying to get you to do is to not turn off the Nintendo. Which I think is the thing. It's like, beat it in one session, you know? Kind of the thing. Don't turn it off. You know, it's like, you don't need to go to work. You don't need sleep. You know, your significant other doesn't need attention. That type stuff. You don't need to, you know, that type stuff, you know. But even PlayStation games and, you know, PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, even those type games kind of deterred you. I mean, I don't know, it's just kind of, some senses, I kind of like the concept of, like, video games being more open about the concept of blue collar, because it's like, you know, if a video game costs 50 or 75 bucks, obviously you're going to need some sort of substantive income to be able to afford these games. I mean, not just the games that come out like 10 days before Christmas or the holidays, or some sort of gift-inclined holiday where you would get them, but just to kind of say, like, you know, actively, you know, being able to afford said games and say, hey, you know, this came out like March 13th and I'm gonna, you know, fuck around and, you know, 2 weeks worth of work and get me this and, like, Xbox Live and that type stuff. You know, it's just kind of, but yeah, so I'm just getting on a little bit more of a tangent here. It's just kind of stupid stuff, but just to kind of say, me talking about the save point. You know, forgot what I was talking about. It had something to do with save point, but yep, another waterfall stage. I would almost suspect that there's going to be at least a couple more of these, but for the most part, every type of stage, like if there's like a particular type of stage that you hate, just understand that you're probably going to see at least 2 and maybe 3 more of those types of stages, and some of them will have gimmicks. This game really likes the elephant character, so understand, I mean, you see this elephant character at least 5, 6, and maybe more than that times. I don't mind. I mean, I look at it like, but, you know, I do kind of miss the rhinoceros from the first 2 games, and I also, you know, the snake was pretty cool also. I like the frog from the first one. he was so aimless and idiotic, but, you know, frogs don't really have much expression on their face. They just kind of look pretty mindless, and that's kind of the point. You know, this elephant character looks happy, like ripped right out of a first grade you know, classroom or something like that, but the frog just looked like couldn't even tell what it was thinking. Sorry, but this is where we're gonna wrap things up, folks. You know, basically I'm not gonna complete this bonus in this episode, so subscribe for more fun. Have a wonderful night. See you next time.